Okay, in this video, we're going to have a look at how you can select different cells or ranges of cells in Excel. So if you click on the first cell and you hold your mouse button in, so you click your left mouse button in, as you drag, whether it's down to the left or even up, it will basically select everything that you drag from that point on. To do the same with the keyboard, click on the top left cell that you want to select. Then keeping your shift key in, you then press your down arrows. Every time you press your down arrow, it will go further down. If you now press the right arrow key, it will select it'll increase the range, selected range size to the right. Now, one of the things I also want to show you is that if your shift key is still in and you keep your control key in and you now press the down arrow, it'll go all the way to the bottom until there is no more data. So until it reaches the first blank row, it'll actually then select everything up to that point. And if I still have my control and shift key in and I press my right arrow, it'll then do the same in the direction going towards the right, where it'll select everything until it actually reaches a blank column, as you can see over here. Now, the top two rows, you'll notice, or top three rows, are not selected because we began the selection at this particular point over here. All right, so I'm just going to click that. So that is just a key thing to note, using the control plus the shift and an arrow to move into any direction. If you want to select the whole sheet, so that means every single cell in the sheet, you click on this little area here next to the A and above the 1, and that basically highlights everything. So that's not just the data point, it'll highlight everything all the way right to the bottom, down to the last row, and all the way to the right column. So typically you would do this type of thing if you wanted to change the formatting, for example, in every single cell. Let's say I wanted to change the font type from Arial to let's say Calibri, and once I do that, you can see it's changed everything over there. I'll just press Ctrl Z to undo. So we're back to the same font that we had before. The other thing I want to show you that's very quick is that if you want to just select the data, right, until it actually reaches a blank row, if you click anywhere in this data area and you press Ctrl A, it'll select everything. So if I go down, you see it selects everything until it actually reaches a blank row, and it also selects everything until it reaches a blank column. So it'll go to the last populated row and last populated column. Now, one of the things that I should note, let's assume there is a break. So let's say we had some data here, right? If I typed in some data here, if I'm in this area over here, anywhere here, and I click on Ctrl A, it'll stop again because there's a blank row. So even though there may be data further on below it, the moment it reaches a blank row, it won't go any further. So just note that in certain instances, if you've got breaks in your data, in other words, blank rows or blank columns, using Ctrl A won't necessarily select every single thing because it only goes up to that point. Also, what happens if you want to select cells that are not next to each other? So all the selections that we have been doing so far involve, cells that are part of the same range. In other words, they're all next to each other. So if there are non-adjacent cells that you need to select, what you do is you click on the one, and then keeping your control key in, you can then go and click on other cells. So you can see these are all getting selected, and I can even click and drag. So I've got different ranges, you can see. So all the highlighted ones are now selected, and because I had my control key in while I was clicking on these different options and clicking and dragging here, it then actually selected them even though they're not next to each other. So just to show you, let's assume that I go to the Home tab and I click on the yellow fill. Those are the ones that I selected. I just did a yellow fill on them so you could see the ones that we actually selected.